This is Lil Joker, Auto Broker, coming to you live and direct from the world headquarters, Lil Joker Auto Broker. So today, we're going to be talking about the massive auto market crash of 2024. And I just did a video on the electronic vehicles, so I'm going to touch on that a little bit again, and then I'm going to talk about your gas vehicles as well, because the whole thing's crashing. The first thing to massively crash was the electronic vehicles. Now, as I had just talked about in my other video, that electronic vehicles across the board depreciate 50% after the first year. Traditionally, your European cars would depreciate 50% after 3 years, because that's, I believe, when the manufacturer's warranty was up. So you could go to an auction and you can buy like a 3-year-old BMW or Mercedes with about 50,000 miles on it. Let's say if it costs 100,000 new, you can buy it at the auction for about $50,000. So they were about 50 cents on the dollar after 3 years. They lost about 50% of the value. I haven't paid close attention to that market, but that's traditionally how it worked. Now, electronic vehicles have just brought the depreciation level to a whole new level. The fastest depreciating asset that you'll ever own traditionally was a boat, and boat stands for bust out another 1,000. So I just want to recap on the EVs right now are the best buy if you want an electronic vehicle. They do require a lot of patience because you have to charge them, you have to keep them charged. Most of them have like a 300-mile radius. So you want, if you're driving in town, right now is the best time in U.S. history to buy an EV because they have depreciated so fast in this great auto crash of 2024. Now, new car prices, they're coming down a little bit, but truth be told, the manufacturers are not being that aggressive. In my opinion, they're moving too slow on trying to move the units, because what happens is when the manufacturer makes the car, they then sell it to the franchise dealer, your brand new dealerships. That's the end of the line for the manufacturer. They no longer deal with the vehicle. Then the franchise dealer then deals with the end user, the customer, the U.S. American citizens. So the manufacturers are starting to put commercials out where they're offering 1.9% financing, 0.09% financing. I've even seen 0% financing. But they're not lowering MSRP on the 2024 vehicles. Now, Ford, they put a commercial out. I want to make sure I got this right. They're selling the 2023 F-150s for $10,000 off MSRP. And then they're doing a 1.9 APR percent. So that's great if you want to buy a truck, because you get $10,000 off of the sticker price, and then you get it at a 1.9 APR, where if you get a vehicle that's not on sale, you're going to pay 7% minimum. Some places are, even with good credit, you're going to pay 10% APR, and you're going to pay the full MSRP, and because that's just the way that it's set up right now. So the manufacturers, they are moving too slow. If one of them can jump out and take money off the MSRP and then give you a low percentage rate, that will attract more customers. But it's a huge problem, because the franchise dealers that have all this new inventory, they're not moving their vehicles. Most franchise dealers, they don't own the vehicles. The bank owns them on a line of credit. It's called a floor plan. So if a dealership, like let's say a big dealership has, let's say they have 700 cars, and they don't own 600 of them. So they have to pay interest on the 600 cars every single month that they have. So when they don't sell those cars, they're paying somewhere between $60,000 a month to over $100,000 a month in interest on the inventory that they cannot move, which is pretty hard to believe. Now, the root cause of this auto market crash is the fact that back during the pandemic, now the root cause of this car market crash started during the pandemic. They printed out over $10 trillion in stimulus packages, all kinds of stuff. In the history of America, we've never printed out over $1 trillion before in any type of crisis. So there was a lot of money printed out, and there was a shortage on the chips for the vehicles. They had supply chain problems. They had part manufacturing problems. So the cost of vehicles exceeded MSRP anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000 on a lot of vehicles, okay? So what happened is all these millions of Americans bought these cars over MSRP. They're upside down on the vehicles. 1 in 5 or 6 Americans has a car note of $1,000 or more. They're upside down on these vehicles, okay? They're doing up to 20,000 repossessions a day, okay? So when you think back of the root cause of the problem, when you sign that contract and you have a car note of $1,000, or the average new car payment $750. When you add insurance onto that, you have to pay gas, and then you have all these other expenses. The average household cannot afford all of these payments. So it's caused a lot of problems in our great country. And another big problem in all this mess is the fact that during the pandemic, banks, your banks, your credit unions, your second tier finance companies, if you had like subprime credit, they gave loans on so many cars. They didn't check to see if you had a job. They didn't do your debt to income ratio. They just loaned out money. The same thing they did in 2008 when the housing market collapsed. It's funny how history has a way of repeating itself. So the banks loaned out all this money. So now they're having all these, when they get these repossessions, they're on their deathbed. They're running these repossessions through the auctions. They're running a lot of them through there. And I bought a couple about a year ago. I don't buy those anymore because they just have too many problems. So the repossessions are in real bad shape. The banks have taken a massive amount of losses in this whole ordeal. So what does that mean? They're not loaning money on vehicles that much anymore. It is extremely difficult to get a new car loan, a used car loan. That just adds to the existing problem that even when people want to go and buy cars, the interest rate is so high, they get denied by the banks, they get denied by the subprime lenders. Some of the subprime lenders, the largest ones, are no longer even in business. They're not even writing loans anymore. So we've got a lot of problems. The car market crash really kind of started this year. It kind of started last year, but it's really starting to hit now. It's going to continue to get worse. I don't know how long it's going to last, but strap in because we're in for a wild ride. So in closing, I want to remind everyone that you want to be patient if you're going to buy a car. If you have to buy a car right away, just shop it and get the best deal available. The longer you wait, the more the prices are going to come down, because you can only stay on your inventory at this amount of money for so long. Then you have to start taking this, and this. So the longer you wait, the better of a deal you'll get. When the housing market crashed in 2008, it took until 2010 for houses to hit the rock bottom price. Now, it's not going to take 2 years for cars to hit the rock bottom price. How long is it going to take? Couldn't tell you, but they are going to continue to lower the prices on both new and used cars. So thank you for watching my video. This is Little Joke Auto Broker. I'm working for clicks. Until next time, I'll see you. Thank you.